It was never going to be easy to put this place back together from a war that taught the world the term ethnic cleansing. Between 1992 and 1995, 100,000 people died here. Mass graves are still being discovered. But 14 years ago, American and European diplomats persuaded bitter adversaries to sit down at an Ohio Air Force base and agree to stop the bloodshed in what has become known as the Dayton Accords. 50,000 NATO troops helped secure the peace, and extensive investment by the international community quickly followed. And to many people's surprise, the peace has held. Today, most of the country has been physically repaired. The capital, Sarajevo, still carries some scars of its 3-year siege, but otherwise feels like a normal, bustling city. The NATO operation has been replaced by a much smaller European Union mission of only 2,000 troops. And there have been some major structural reforms here.
All these things were done in the first half of this decade. Tremendous progress.
American diplomat Rafi Gregorian is second in command at the Office of the High Representative, the international body created by Dayton to supervise the country until it can stand on its own.
There were still 3 former warring armies here in Bosnia-Herzegovina. Today there's 1. There used to be 3 intelligence services. Now there's 1. There were several different taxation systems here. Today there's 1, and so on.
But these improvements masked a fragility in the political structure of the country, one that 14 years of peace have not fixed, one that now risks plunging Bosnia and Herzegovina back towards failure, just as life was beginning to feel normal, and just as the international mission here was hoping to leave. The Dayton Agreement carved the country into 2 autonomous ethnic entities, a Serb-majority area called Republika Srpska, and a federation predominantly of Bosniak Muslims and Catholic Croats. On top of this sits a national layer of government with its own ethnically based structure. This has been called the most overgoverned country in the world. There are 3 presidents here, each one representing a different ethnicity. There are 13 administrations from the state down to the local level, with 160 ministers on the payroll. And the cost of all this government? A whopping 50% of the country's GDP.
The Dayton Peace Accord was a monster. I mean, it created a monster country.
Srećko Letal writes for the Balkan Investigative Reporting Network. He says this weak and complicated political system is now being manipulated by a new wave of nationalist politicians.
Bosnia-Herzegovina right now is facing the most difficult crisis since the end of its war. We have come into the situation where local leaders don't want to make it work. I mean, they deliberately block the work of joint state and entity institutions. And as a result, we are facing a major deadlock on almost complete level.
We do have these political tensions, and that's because of 2 diverging concepts. The one is of multicultural country, the other one is of divided ethnic country.
Haris Salajic is a veteran Bosniak Muslim politician who now serves as one of the country's 3 national presidents. He says he wants a more unified government.
All of us haven't done enough in the last 14 years to promote the positive values of what we call a modern society today. Bosnia-Herzegovina should be a normal, democratic country with the priorities of becoming a full member of the NATO alliance and a member of the European Union.
Reform of Bosnia's political system is a requirement for the High Representative to leave, and for Bosnia's ultimate prize, European Union membership. But Salajic's plan is a one-man, one-vote system that would have the side effect of putting greater power in the hands of the more populous Muslims, something Bosnia's Serbs say they will not allow. Republika Srpska's capital, Banja Luka, has also come a long way since the war. There is some extra money to spend here, from deals the Serbs have made on their own with countries like Russia. And the glistening new government headquarters sends the message: the Serbs plan on holding on to their autonomy.
A military camp.
Gordan Milosevic is an advisor to the Serb entity's prime minister.
Is there a difference of opinion between what the Republika Srpska wants this country to look like and what the Federation wants this country to look like?
Well, it is obvious, that's not a secret for anyone who knows Bosnia, that main intention in Republika of Srpska is for Bosnia and Herzegovina to remain a strongly decentralized country in line with Dayton Peace Agreement. Those who are insisting on one man, one vote system, they are basically trying to provide for a circumstance that would allow for only one people in Bosnia to rule this country and to become a dominant group.
Milosevic accuses the international community, through its Office of the High Representative, of siding with the Bosniak Muslims to undermine Serb authority. He says the situation is unacceptable.
If there will be a foreign authority still imposing law after law, changing the reality of this country, without even consulting us about that, what is our option? To pretend ignorant and to follow imposition after imposition, or to say, okay, if that's the game you want to play, please run this country then, but without us.
Republika Srpska Prime Minister Milorad Dodik has gone even further, threatening to call an independence referendum. The Office of the High Representative says it isn't biased against Serbs, but Rafi Grigorian insists it is Dodik's government that is undermining the future of the country.
The Republika Srpska, which most proclaims that they want us gone, are the ones who are doing the most to block completion of these objectives and conditions. If they had we could have been gone 2 years ago, in 2007, for example, if they hadn't been talking about independence and secession, if they hadn't been blocking progress on the things that need to be done.